Welcome back to the Light the Fuse podcast. What do we have to say about this podcast anymore?
I don't know. Clearly, you've run out.
I've run out. Well, yeah, I kind of have. You know, we're in between movies. We're in between, news. It's really just.
Well, are we though?
Well, we had a little bit of news.
McQuarrie had a quote
right
that we wanted to bring up. By the way, I'm Charles Hood.
Drew Taylor.
Yes. Now, through Empire, McQuarrie has a quote about the new movies. He said, "I pitched the idea of making two movies, and now I have to justify why it's two movies. You've got to earn that. You've got to make something that swallows the last three movies whole. I'm freaked out now. We've talked ourselves into something. Holy shit."
So he's including Ghost Protocol and the ones that he has to swallow whole.
Yeah. I mean, he was obviously involved with that one.
Yeah, that's true.
So, what do you think about that?
I mean, I'm not envious of his situation.
Of the task?
No.
I wonder, they've talked themselves into something. What is that?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
We're going to try to get some answers for people.
Yeah. But as always, check out our Patreon. We've got some bonus content on there, and our commentary will be coming soon, or might even maybe... No, I don't think it'll be out by this time, but it'll be out soon. And we've got T-shirts on the website.
Yep.
New designs coming soon.
Yeah, we got a Patreon account you can go sign up for.
Yes, patreon.com/LightTheFuse. And the shirts you find on the merchandise section of our website, LightTheFusePodcast.com. And yeah, there's also the Pod Brawl is going on. So we've got that contest for iTunes reviews. Yeah. So thank you so much to everybody out there who's written great iTunes reviews for us. And if you could keep doing that
for us.
Did my
review count?
You're letting everybody know that we cheated.
Yeah, we cheated.
We cheated. Drew put in a review.
But there was no.
So now they're gonna have to strike one from our record.
No, they're not. They're gonna keep it. There was no fine print beforehand.
That's true. It didn't say that we couldn't write. I haven't written one yet.
Well, get on there.
So maybe I think if you look through our iTunes reviews, you'll notice which one is Drew's.
Yeah.
I think you signed it definitely not Drew Taylor.
Yeah. So I was covering my tracks.
Yeah. But that contest is going on. Thank you all so much for the reviews you've written, and if you haven't written one, please go do one. That would be awesome.
Is that it for now?
I think that's it.
Can we introduce our big guest?
Yes, for sure.
Kendra James, welcome.
Hi.
To Light the Fuse. You are the managing editor of StarTrek.com, correct?
Yes, I am.
You're a huge Mission Impossible fan.
I'm a roving Tom Cruise scholar.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you and Amy get into sort of arguments or debates?
We've actually never fought about. We generally, our views align.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a contested relationship.
No, the people I generally fight with are actually my friends who are can you please shut up about Tom Cruise?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we should ask sort of when were you first, did you always love these movies? Did you always love Tom Cruise?
Yeah, so sort of the first thing that I remember is I won a trip when I was younger to Universal Studios City or Islands of Adventure when it first opened in Orlando. I was on Jeopardy. They gave us a trip there and when I for a consolation prize. And so we got there and it was the same weekend that Mission Impossible 2 was opening. And I was obsessed at that point with Far and Away.
Okay.
The Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, Cole Meany movie. I made people watch it at a sleepover. I had once in middle school. It was the only sleepover I ever hosted.
I think the first Tom Cruise movie in 70mm too, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that was a big thing when it opened that, you could see it in 70. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I did not know that as an 11-year-old. I was just horny for Tom Cruise. And so the poster for Mission Impossible 2 is just him in the classic sort of long hair era of Vanilla Sky, and I was so attracted to him. So we get down to Universal Studios, and they have the City Walk down there, and there was a movie theater, and before we went to the park, I just insisted. I was no. I told my parents, we have to go see Mission Impossible. We can't go to the park. I need to go see this movie.
Right.
So yeah, no, that it's a long, deep-seated thing. I don't know when it started, but I think it was born of horniness and then developed into just an appreciation of the art because I am no longer horny for him because he has sort of moved away from that.
Right. Yes. Wow. I mean, I think we are also horny for Tom Cruise.
Yes.
We're still horny.
Yeah, we are still horny.
Yeah. I've been to that City Walk Theater. I saw Night at the Museum 3 there. Robin Williams, R.I.P.
Yeah, it was
It's a great theater. Great
turning point in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. And today we're going to talk about the marketing of these movies, something that you wanted to talk about, right? And you're going to have a theory about this,
or a thesis.
A thesis about the marketing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thesis about the marketing of Mission Impossible, but it's also sort of a thesis of the arc of Tom Cruise's career, which I feel like American Made actually started to change a little bit, but it's mostly that he started his career obviously as being like this sort of sex symbol, heartthrob, sort of like Brat Pack adjacent. I don't really consider Jerry Maguire a rom-com, but I guess it is or considered one. But was doing these sort of romantic movies, Jerry Maguire, Far and Away, Days of Thunder, Interview with the Vampire, which was another, that actually might have been why I was obsessed.
Right.
Understandable.
That might have been it. But so he was seen in this like really romantic light, and he was marketed as a heartthrob. But then you hit sort of 2005 and the War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
Is it plural? Yeah. Era. And that marketing sort of starts to take a change. And he becomes less of this sex symbol, real person, and more of an automaton. He becomes more machine than man. And a lot of that I attribute to the fact that he becomes so focused on stunts. And that's to the credit, I think, to the women in his movies, because they start also having to keep up with him. Like, they have to be able to match him tit for tat. And you see that in the Mission Impossible movies. You see that in Night and Day. But his relationship with women is less sexual and more a partnership, which is refreshing, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely does change the way the movies are marketed. And they're less marketed on just his face, I feel, and more on, like, the team dynamic.
Right.
And the focus of the Mission Impossible marketing, starting with number 4... I consider number 3 to be a little bit of a mess, but
right.
Starting with number 4, like, really starts showcasing like the stunt. What is the stunt that is going to happen in Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3? Mm. And that really starts to be the center of it, and they start really focusing on the team, which I think is to the movie's credits. The fact that they've started building like this really strong team, and you have you have Luther who's like the continuing, and then Benji eventually, and they've sort of like kind of fallen into the sort of the right fit. They haven't really, and they found a woman also who finally sticks.
Yes.
And I think that
we're still waiting for Paula Patton to come back.
And
I
Maggie
wish.
Q.
And
Maggie Q was so good, but I'm sorry, I digress.
We also need Elsa to become an official IMF team member.
Yeah,
right.
She's still in the margins. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, so my theory about the marketing is it's really just become about the fact that he's more machine than man at this point. Mm-hmm. And it's really about, okay, like, what is he going to throw, as they say in number 2, like, what ridiculous stunt is he going to throw himself off this time?
Right. Yeah, and earlier in his career, he was also, he made a lot of, like, sex movies.
Yes.
Between Risky Business and All the Right Moves and Losing It.
Yeah.
He had a lot more sex.
What was Eyes Wide Shut?
Eyes Wide Shut.
A movie that I had to sneak downstairs to watch.
Right. Yeah, but he sort of abandoned that aspect of his career. Although, there is a little sex in American Made.
There is, and that was actually really weird for me to see, because I wrote this thesis up. You can read it on Cosmo. God bless them for publishing that, because I don't know why they did. But so I saw The Mummy, the remake that he did, and that movie was just, the women in that movie are treated like less kindly than I feel like he usually treats the women in his movies, in terms of not like treats them interpersonally, but like allowing them to shine and allowing them to have their moments. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't quite happen in The Mummy, but also he is sort of trying in The Mummy, like there's a lot of shirtless scenes.
Yes.
And like he suddenly like almost wants to be sexual again, but it felt so discordant from like what we had seen him doing in Mission Impossible up to that point that it didn't quite work for me. And then you get to American Made and it works a slight bit more because he's playing a real person.
Right.
That's interesting.
And it's a period movie.
Right.
So, it's almost like him going back to earlier in his career.
Yeah.
I like American Made.
I think it was great.
Yeah. McCory had some
McCory helped that with that one as well.
Yeah. So do you want to go through the...
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of, we're going to talk about each movie in chronological order.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the posters and the trailers and all that stuff. I want to play a little game with you that I've played with Drew on the show once before.
Okay.
So
I
hope you can read my handwriting, but I'm going to slide this piece of paper over to you. These are the 6 taglines for the Mission Impossible movies. Can you tell us which taglines correspond with each movie?
Oh my god, I'm going to be so bad at this.
So there's The Impossible Happens.
Right.
There's No Plan, No Backup, No Choice. Expect the Impossible. Desperate Times, Desperate Measures. Some Missions Are Not a Choice. And The Mission Begins.
Okay.
So you have to tell us which taglines. I bet Drew
Can we say a spoiler that
Drew's already played this.
The Mission Begins is not
No.
No, I mean, that's just there's a lot of other, I'm just saying.
Okay.
You got some ideas?
I feel like I can group them. Okay. Is Expect the Impossible the first one?
No.
Okay, see, this is already going so badly.
Yeah, I should have had Drew play this game again.
Yeah.
He's already played it.
I've already played it.
No plan, no backup, no choice feels like we're dissolving the IMF. So that's Ghost Protocol?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
You got it.
All right. Gosh. The Impossible Happens.
Very distinct taglines.
Looking back at number 2, that movie feels impossible.
So.
That's number 2?
What is?
The Impossible Happens.
Yes.
Okay.
You were right.
Great. All right. So I have 4. I have 2. Desperate Times, Desperate Measures. I feel like Rogue Nation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was a line in the movie.
Okay. So I have 1. I have 4. I have 5. Some Missions Are Not a Choice is number 1.
Not the first movie. You're saying the Some Missions Are Not a Choice is the first movie?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So then it's Expect the Impossible.
Yes.
Okay.
So you only have The Mission Begins left.
Oh, 3 is...
And Some Missions Are Not a Choice.
So Some Missions Are Not a Choice is number 1, and then The Mission Begins is 3?
You just said... You already had Expect the Impossible as number 1, right?
She said that first, and you said no.
Wait, what?
Yes.
No, I'm confused.
Yeah. She said Expect the Impossible is the first one.
Is the first movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because she said that 5 minutes ago when she started this game. You don't even know the answers, and you came up with this game.
I quit.
He's thrown his hat down.
All right.
So you were right from the beginning.
She was right
Yes.
from the beginning.
I
So
threw
why
you
don't you
off.
give her props?
All right.
So she
So
only
you-
has 6.
okay.
Your numbers are wrong on here, too, by the way.
I confused myself
Okay, you have
in
3,
the scrambling of the
You have
numbers.
3 and 6 left.
3 and 6 left. Okay. Wait.
So you have to
now I have to
assign
figure out
those.
which ones.
Yes.
Okay. Did I do Some Missions Are Not a Choice? Because I feel like that's 3.
No.
No? So that's 6?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Then The Mission Begins is 3?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
It makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
I mean, number 3, as a concept, aside from Philip Seymour Hoffman, makes no sense to me, but we can,
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys talked about how he blatantly steals scenes from Lost and puts them in the movie?
From Lost?
Yeah,
I mean, we've always heard from Alias.
Yeah, because he just couldn't. I'm sure I didn't watch Alias, but there are.
It's basically an Alias, 2-hour Alias episode.
The scene where he's reviving, where she is reviving Tom in Vietnam at the end.
Yeah.
That is straight from Dominic Monaghan reviving Evangeline Lilly in season 1 of Lost. It's shot in exactly the same way.
Wow.
Interesting.
Did he direct that episode of Lost?
I have no idea, but
he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, you ready?
Yeah.
Put your little childhood games aside.
So we talk about the first movie.
Yeah.
So there's the iconic. I'll say iconic.
Yeah.
First poster, the profile of Tom
With
Cruise.
the globe.
And so
We'll have all these posters on Twitter, too.
Yes, we'll post all this on our social media. Any thoughts on this poster that we?
It's
with the tagline "Expect the Impossible." I'll get it right this time.
I mean, it's sort of set the trend, at least for the initial 3 movies.
Yes.
Profile shot.
Profile shot's very important.
Very important. He's got a strong, Spartan, angle to his nose.
Yes.
It's very... I mean, it's sort of a basic... I mean, that could have been a poster for The Saint or any of those other movies from the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, it came out, at a time when his face could market a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you needed.
I'm not so sure that is the case anymore.
Yeah. Do you have any deeper thoughts on this?
The first...
I see your notes.
Yeah, I have notes. I mean, the first trailer was, or at least watching the trailer in conjunction with the poster was really interesting because the trailer gives me a noir vibe. which the movie hits at, but it's not completely, I would say.
Yeah.
And the poster doesn't quite match up with that.
Yeah. It's more, the teaser is more noir. I was shocked to see that so much of the movie in the trailer, including him jumping from the exploding helicopter onto the train.
Yeah, they show, and even the blade from the helicopter.
Yeah,
the helicopter blade
neck.
at the neck.
Yeah.
They show so much.
Well, because I think for that, the focus wasn't on the stunts because they had so many like sort of renowned actors in that movie. So I feel like it was really more on the character and the story at that point, and they hadn't realized like, oh, we have a man who is willing to kill himself.
Yeah.
To make this movie.
Yeah. It's interesting that comes so late in the franchise. But also that, this was his first produced movie, right?
Right.
So I feel like he was like, we gotta show him everything to get him in there. It also makes the charges of the movie being too confusing hold even less water, because it's like you saw the whole movie in the trailer. You're still confused by this movie. You know what I mean?
Who was confused by this movie?
That was a major complaint at the time of the release.
Huh.
But our interview with Paul Hirsch hasn't come out yet, but he provides a reason for why he thinks the critics
he blames another movie of the same summer.
We'll say that. He blames another movie that summer, which we'll tell you when we stop recording. But we won't say it now on the air because this episode's going to come out before the Paul Hirsch episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the movie itself, like, it's kind of in parts like sort of campy, and like I think that is based just the way De Palma shoots some things. Like he does a lot. I don't know what the technical term is, but a lot of those like up angle, like he puts the camera down in someone's lap and like shoots it right up their nose. Yeah, which is not something that you see.
No,
very often.
Especially not in a huge studio summer tentpole.
Yeah.
It's I think De Palma's funnier than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah, the typical feeling from a lot is that shooting low angles makes people look
chubby.
Yeah, makes them not look good. But it's starting to come back more. You see Soderbergh's been doing that for a while now.
You ever
now
shoot
more
anybody
and more people are doing.
Low angle?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of low angle stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, on the last show I did, we were really pushing to do a lot of low angle close ups.
There were a lot of children in that show, so they were not.
No, they were college age.
Oh, college age. Oh, that show. Okay. Yeah. I forget which one you left. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then we should talk about the first teaser, and maybe we'll play a little clip from it. But the teaser for the first movie, this is a version of the main theme. This piece of music we don't recognize.
Yeah, it's not in any of the movies.
We kind of feel like this might be Alan Silvestri's original theme that was then replaced by Danny Elfman's.
Yes.
But here, let's take a listen.
You also saw that on the early teaser posters, Silvestri was still credited.
Yeah, someone on Twitter just today was just they bought a poster of the original movie, and they were surprised to find that on the bottom we have this on Twitter. It says music by Alan Silvestri on the poster.
It's pretty crazy.
So when did that change get made?
Very late.
Yeah.
I mean, Elfman said to you 3 weeks he had to do it
to record it, to write and record it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which is I think he had even less time for Justice League, but at the time it was one of the tightest deadlines he ever had.
And Paul Hirsch tells us the story of how this all happened with Alan Silvestri, and when he explained it, they actually did go in and have a recording session with Silvestri. So that music is,
and a lot of
it's on YouTube if you look for it. But I do wonder if that is Silvestri's version of the theme. It's different than any of the other ones we've heard.
Yeah, a lot of his music wound up in Eraser, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
A lot of that music was written for Mission Impossible.
Do we know when they started marketing this movie? In 96? Or I guess...
I would imagine it was November of 95.
At the earliest.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
For certain by February they had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I found some old movies of mine that I made with friends that we were making in February. We were already getting into Mission Impossible, so the trailer had to be out by then.
It's like interesting because they've moved now like from a summer release to this like huge Christmas tentpole release, which I don't know if you guys know why, because
the only one
Fallout was still summer.
The only one, or
No.
Fallout was summer.
Ghost Protocol was the only
December.
Was that December?
It was December,
and it was a week early in IMAX.
Right.
Yeah.
The first 3 movies were all Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think the third movie was earlier than that. It was May 5th.
Right.
The first movie was May 22nd, and the second movie was May 24th. So they were all May movies. But now they switched to Ghost Protocol was December.
Yeah.
Rogue Nation, I want to say, was
July.
July. And Fallout was July.
Yes.
And now they've announced the dates for the next 2, and they're July and August.
That's...
So they've sort of
They
settled
really
on
need
this
that
late
extra
summer.
month for the second one. I could see those, how do I say this, shifting a little bit.
Yes.
I think that there is a possibility that they could go back to doing Christmas movies. And I would wager to say that they are the only movies that can go up against the Avatar Star Wars Christmas time.
Oh, the Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now
part of
from-
the equation.
Yeah, from I guess December 21st through December 26th, there'll be either an Avatar or a Star Wars every Christmas.
Right. And
Wow.
Yeah.
It also depends if Paramount like gets another Star Trek movie. Like that
that's
also
true.
will shift.
Yeah. Or
So I think there's actually, I wanted to bring up, sorry, this terrible segue, sorry, but there's another trailer for the first movie that is not the one we listened to, but that was the teaser. There was a main trailer, I think, that has a quote from Cruise in the movie where they change the line, they tweak it.
what are they?
Because in the movie he says that this whole operation was a mole hunt. And then in the trailer they changed to this whole operation was a decoy.
Find something that's personally important to him and you squeeze. This whole operation was a decoy. I can understand you're very upset.
You've never seen me very upset. This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Interesting.
Oh, I'm sure
Did you-
because no one knew what mole was
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things about people finding
Yes.
it confusing, too.
Yeah.
People were confused by mole hunt. They didn't know what the hell he was.
Also, in the teaser and in the trailer, glimpses of the sex scene.
Right.
We
Right.
could have had him, return to his kind of sexy Tom Cruise vibe.
Well, I think they started marketing it in the fall of 95. They would have had, it would have made sense because of Jerry Maguire, Interview with the Vampire. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been like, that's
would have
what
fit
women
into
were
that.
looking for.
Yes, that's true. But not in the movie, and not in any movies since.
No.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible wise, at least.
There's
Yeah.
no room for sex scenes in a
No, the
Mission
closest
Impossible
you get
movie.
is that bathtub scene. I think that's the closest in
Oh.
number 2.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
In terms of like
that's
sexual
true.
tension.
That's true.
And
They're in bed together.
Yeah, they wake
Yeah.
up in bed together.
And then in the third movie, they consummate their marriage in the closet at the hospital.
Yeah.
Part of your favorite
Which is
sequence
my favorite.
of the series. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's call it that.
Yeah. Should we move on to?
Should we move on? To MI2?
Oof.
Oh boy. So I think I wrote down, I'm gonna read exactly what I wrote.
Good.
This trailer is elevated Jackass. No, well, okay, so I was rewatching it and I was instantly transported back to like being in middle school in like the year 2000. What I was watching,
On your way to Islands of Adventure.
yes, but like Limp Bizkit is playing in the background, and I remember it being a big deal because I was like watching MTV, TRL, all that stuff. It was a big deal that Limp Bizkit, for like my age range, got that song.
Yeah.
Right.
And I played it and like convinced myself it was good. It's not good.
Yeah. It's very of its time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, if you rewatching that trailer, it really does look like what they were doing on Jackass, but like professional. And then when
That's interesting.
when you back it with the Limp Bizkit, it really just like gets into that whole aesthetic.
Right.
Yeah. It really.
Him falling. They show him falling through the tower.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
motorcycle stunts.
That part especially.
Yes, that's
It
like.
feels very pre 9/11 is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's of its time. It's a time capsule, that movie.
Yeah.
And it is not great. But there
No.
are great things about it.
I rank it above 3. It's
Wow.
Yeah, it's
But your movie ranking or talking about marketing?
in terms of like in like movie ranking overall.
Okay,
Wait,
wait.
Okay.
That's at the end. Okay.
All right.
It's a little preview.
Yeah, yeah.
We should talk about the poster for MI2 also. It's another. I guess you already talked about it a little bit
Yeah.
before, but it's another silhouette. Another profile.
Flames.
Beautiful hair. I think there's even a dove in there somewhere. Right?
Is there?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
on.
they might have
He's
snuck
on
one
the
in there.
motorcycle, I think. Too.
Well, it's but it's close up.
It's close up,
Yeah,
but
but
I
it is
think-
the shot of
yeah,
him.
yeah. It's beautiful. What do you think about his hairstyle in that one?
It's that and Protocol, my favorite hair for
You
the
prefer
franchise.
him long.
It's like me going back to being 12.
Okay, interesting. We had another guest on. Won't say who it was. Hated the hairstyle from the
Really?
first one, which
Yeah.
we like. We like the short militaristic hair.
I don't hate it. It's not a hate. It's just I feel like especially with the action scenes, I like to watch it like go around.
yeah.
I like it's kinetic.
It is kinetic. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Do we want to listen to a clip of the trailer for the second movie?
I mean, we have nothing better to do, so let's do it.
All right.
All right. Here's a clip.
Welcome to Australia, mate. This ain't funny.
The mother of all nightmares is on the loose.
I don't think I can do it.
You mean it'll be difficult?
Very.
Well, this is not mission difficult, Mr. Hunt. It's mission impossible.
All right. So that was
What do you have?
MI2.
You love it?
Anything else we want to talk about MI2?
I mean, just like that you get sort of the start of the focus on the stunt because like the big tent pole for that one is the rock climbing, which I guess you guys have
that's
probably
right,
talked about
yeah.
the
Yes.
story behind that with like the insurance and
Yes.
and how he did it. He just went and did
Except
it.
for one shot.
Yes. That's
Good job.
true. There's one shot apparently that is not him.
Yeah. What's amazing
According
too.
to that's our making of MI2 episode that you can check out.
Yeah.
We did,
Thank you,
did a lot,
Charles.
did a lot of research. Gotta plug it.
Yeah, you gotta plug it. But like the train sequence, you see almost the whole sequence in that trailer.
Yeah.
You know, you see the thing land, you see him put on even the last shot is him throwing the glasses at the camera with a really bad kind of like after
Don't they even
effects
show that
explosion.
twice because it reverses? They put it in
Oh,
reverse
yes.
at the end.
That's so
They really
weird.
wanted to show off the sunglasses
Yeah.
exploding.
They
Well,
must have
again,
had an Oakley
Those
partnership.
sunglasses again, very of their time.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yeah, I want to do a whole episode. Maybe this will be for Patreon only, but about his sunglasses throughout the series.
I'd listen.
Okay, good.
We've figured out that they actually have had watch product placement.
Yes,
We haven't
yeah.
talked about that yet on the show,
Yeah.
but we've done some research about that. They're like the various
Yeah.
watches, and we were trying to figure out how to do an episode about it
Yeah.
too.
Watches and sunglasses.
Yeah.
People will listen.
Sure.
I love the persoles he wears in Ghost Protocol on the way to the tower. And then he has Oakley goggles in the next scene, custom
Right.
Oakley goggles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which are actually important to the plot.
They are?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're I don't want to give away the whole farm here with my sunglass episode.
Should we move on to MI3?
Let's move on to MI3. And then
Okay.
we're going to take a break.
Another profile poster.
Mm-hmm.
Moodier,
Yes.
darker. Does it
Yes.
have Chinese writing on it?
Yeah, there's some
too?
like the hints of Shanghai in the
Yeah,
background,
some-
I think.
Glyphs, we'll say.
Right.
And I think the tower is in the background too.
Yeah. You think we
The,
could pull this up and look at
Yeah,
it?
the kind of round, whatever that tower is in Shanghai.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
You're right.
You know the big spire with the globe on
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
So that trailer it's kind of a mess.
Right.
And if I were like recutting that, I would have a trailer that focused solely on Philip Hoffman.
Right.
Or Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Like that would be the trailer. It would be him narrating like basically his entire plan to take down the team.
Uh-huh.
And it would be like maybe intercut with like short scenes of the IMF team like getting together, but as it is, it's so jumpy, and not jumpy in a good way. Like I will praise Ghost Protocol for being, but it just feels really disconnected, and I don't really get a sense of the story from this trailer.
Right.
And I feel like it's the only one where I'm not really getting a full picture.
Do you think that this is the lack of confidence on behalf of the franchise?
I think part of it is that like the marketing itself can't really be, the marketing for all of them coming together can't be cohesive. It can't possibly be, and that's kind of due to the beauty of the franchise, which each movie is a blank slate for a director to like imprint their vision on, because Ethan Hunt does not have a personality, and like the whole franchise really just depends so heavily on the director. So if the marketing, in my opinion, doesn't work, it's because the director didn't really have a clear vision of what he was doing.
Interesting.
And I don't think that J.J. Abrams had like a total vision of what he was doing with this movie.
But this is the last one that they actually list his name in the trailer.
No, he's not on this one.
He's not in the trailer.
Yeah, 3 on, there is no director in the
trailer. So they
I
mentioned
didn't
Brian De
notice that.
Palma,
So they mentioned De Palma
and they mentioned John Woo
in the first 2 movies.
Yes,
but then beyond that, they
that's
stopped.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Considering the heavy hitters we have on display.
So I want to actually say that I'm actually a fan of the MI3 trailer.
Interesting.
So I get what you're saying. It is choppy, but this is I'll give you the reason why I'm a fan. I'm a fan of 2 things the trailer does that I think is really fun in the editing. One is at the beginning there's this countdown that Cruise does where you can hear his voice saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's all with the beat of the song. It's really well done. And then at the end of the trailer, they do this thing where they have the Mission Impossible theme going and they add a siren into it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Why don't we play a clip?
Welcome back, brother.
Wow.
So yes,
Yeah, siren.
Yes. I appreciate that. I think that there's a really cool thing that they did, at least from a music editing standpoint. But I can see this one. The first 2 movies showed too much. This one maybe shows too much too fast. So you can't really quite make sense of what.
I don't know if this is a compliment to these trailers or not, but in every movie, you never know what it is really when you go to it. Even with Fallout, you sort of don't know what the story is. You understand that there's action, but I remember in Ghost Protocol just being completely blown away, partially because I had no idea what it was gonna be.
Right.
So maybe this choppiness is sort of a backhanded, way of getting people into it and sort of subverting expectations.
Yeah, and I think in some cases these movies are made so late in the edit that
Yeah.
that I think even
Yes.
they didn't know what the
That's
plot
probably
was
true.
until
Yeah.
after the trailer came
Yeah.
out.
Well, at least with Macquarie.
He takes things and he shapes them up, gets them ready to go. But yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Well, let's pause and we'll pick this back up next week, and
Okay.
we'll do 4, 5, and 6. You good with that?
Yeah, that sounds
All right.
sounds great.
All right.
So yeah, again, just
Review,
yes.
subscribe.
Also, this episode is brought to you by Jeremy Dillon, and
Has his have his episodes come out? by now?
No, but Jeremy has his own podcast called My Favorite Album, and we recorded a collaboration with him that's going to be on his podcast and on our podcast where we break down all the music of Mission Impossible. It's going to be a pretty epic.
What's your favorite album?
My favorite album ever?
Yeah.
You're going to just put me on the spot right now?
Yeah.
Octung Baby by U2.
Kendra?
The College Dropout, Kanye West.
Okay.
Well,
There you go.
what about you? You didn't tell us your favorite album.
I don't know. Maybe Paul's Boutique. Beastie Boys.
That's a good one.
Or
Yeah.
Probably
Have you listened to the Beastie Boys book yet?
I haven't listened to it, but we have the.
Because they did the audiobook. They add
And Spike-
all this
Spike
music and
Jones is
things,
in
and all these
it.
different great people do narrate different chapters, and it's a
Yeah.
whole experience to itself.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can I ask you a random question?
Sure.
Do you think there will ever be another original Mission Impossible song?
No.
Okay.
I think it's actually going back to marketing. I think it's partially a function of the marketing, and I feel like they don't need it anymore.
That's fair.
They appropriate another pop song for the trailer. I don't think they have time to organize that kind of thing.
It's also not done necessarily anymore, but if there was going to be a franchise to start it again.
Yeah, it would be cool.
But I think it's that switch that happened at Ghost Protocol. They figured out what these movies are, and they're like, "That's not our thing. That's James Bond's thing. We don't need a song.
We don't need it." Or so many of them have been buried in the credits or not even released. So yeah, I don't think it'll ever come back.
All right, check out we're on social media, Light the Fuse Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and check out our Patreon and
Email us, tweet at us,
email
whatever
us
you want.
questions, whatever. We're always happy. We love it when people send us pictures on Twitter and Instagram, whatever.
No dick pics though.
Yeah, no, please, no dick pics.
Please, we got enough.
No more dick
No
pics.
more dick pics. No. But we'll be back next week with Kendra talking about 4 through 6, the marketing there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod, and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.